Hello, hello. Mozart, thank you so much for the 1 month resub. Sub now for 5 months. Holy heck. Wow. That's wild. I guess on the one hand, it doesn't feel like we've all known each other for, you know, like basically half a year now. But on the other hand, it does also feel like when I think about it that there's a lot that we've done. Like there's a lot that's happened, you know? Yo, what's up, Maple and Alora? Welcome back to the stream as well. All right. Let's see here. What do we got? Okay. Yo, Teague and Nix as well. Hello, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back, everybody. Ooh, those sub badges looking nice too. Sorry, not to shoot my own horn or anything, but I don't know if, in case anybody was not on the special event stream last Friday, I debuted new sub badges, because that stream was first and foremost a thank you to all the subscribers and the subscriber gift subbing people. And yeah, so on that stream we did a special DJ set at a special new club that I built. For those who were there, who know, you know if you know. And then also, yeah, new sub badges. So for all you, a bunch of you guys got a cool little symbol next to your name based off of how long you've been subscribed. Fun little extra touches that hopefully add a little bit of extra pizzazz to the stream. Give it a little extra character, you know? Okay, let's see. How are we gonna do this? Can everyone, quick mic check, sound check, everything like that. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everyone hear me, see me okay? Oops, that's not it. Sounds good. You can hear me, you can see. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. For those of you who were there last Friday, I didn't get a chance to maybe ask some of you. I know you had to like leave earlier or that kind of thing, but what'd you guys think? What'd you guys think of the stream last week and the new place that I made? Let's see, was it this? Uh-oh. Oh, right. It's like, why can't I move? Oh, right, because I'm in a retainer. Derp. I'm checking my retainers here to see if I have any of the items I need already here, in which case I wouldn't need to buy any new ones. But I think I am going to have to craft or make a bunch of items here. And by the way, I'm back on Mateus. So for all you Crystal and or NA friends, I am not on Materia today, so I am actually back home where you guys all are. It looked awesome. Yeah, being on the East Coast limits how late I can stay up to hang out. Yeah, I totally understand, Maple. I know the nightlife can get a little late for a lot of the folks on the East Coast. Like this, what is it? This Friday, I have a show I'm playing at Meowie Juana, which I mean, it's a pretty funny name. Very nice people, and I'm excited to play this for the first time. But I'm playing, like, they open really late, so they start at 12 a.m. my time, PST, and it goes till 3 a.m. So I'm playing from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. EST. So like, I fully understand that like a lot of people that are my East Coast fans and stuff will not be able to make it. But that's how it works. That's freaking time zones, man. Kara will be there, hopefully. Up all night? Heck yeah. Nice chatting with you last night, Kara. And Teague, I'm glad you loved it as well. Loved the whole thing. Yeah, time zones are crazy, right, Maple? Maybe if anything, you can go to bed early and you can get up super early and then you can catch the end of it, you know? It can be your morning wake-up call. Write a script that logs into Twitch for you and turns on my stream at 5 a.m. And it'll be your 5 a.m. wake-up call that you can hear me blasting the last hour of my set. Exactly, with a nice cup of coffee. That's how you do it nowadays, right? You automate your house so that it opens up a banging Twitch stream and starts making you coffee. Heck, maybe it'll even make you breakfast these days. Siri's probably that evolved now, right? That's how that works? Also, so for anybody who is not aware of what I'm doing today on stream, I posted it in the Discord and I posted it on Twitter, but basically, when I first started housing, actually, you know what? I should really pull up the tweet and just show it here on stream, but when I first started housing, the very first thing I ever did was I built a speakeasy bar in my apartment. And the second thing, though, that I ever built and finished, should I say that, finished and put out to the world, was this Japanese feudal temple in the small that I got during Housing Savage. And for, well, let me pull up the tweet first really quick here, and maybe that will, it'll be better to talk about it when I'm actually showing you the tweet itself, I think. One moment here, let me grab it, okay? Yo, what's up, Joe? Welcome back to the stream. Glad to have you here. Okay, so for anybody who wants to actually see the tweet itself, here, I'm gonna post it here in the Twitch chat. Okay? And then I'm also gonna bring it up here in on the stream itself so that you can all see. Hopefully I don't goof this up. Okay. Oh, let's get rid of that little banner at the bottom. How do I do that? I think like that. Bada boom, it's gone. Like it was never there. Okay, so can I click into this more? Oh no, it's not gonna let me do that. Ah, come on. There you go. Okay, so mini story time before we get into this build. So this is my Japanese feudal temple. And this is back at this is pre-Ichi. So for many of you who know me from Ichi and beyond, basically, like I think a lot of you know my timeline up like Ichi and then beyond, kind of. But for basically, I mean, I was a total nobody when it comes to the housing scene at this point in the game, and I just got a house from the Housing Savage that happened, and we called it Housing Savage because back in, I think it was late 2020, they released a whole bunch of new wards for all the existing wards in the game, and this is back when there wasn't the lottery for housing. So basically, what happened was there was like, I think it was wards 18 to 24 or whatever that all opened up at the same time in every single housing district across every single server. And the thing was, when they opened, there was no timer. You literally could just walk up to any plot that you want, and if you had the money, boom, you got the plot instantly. And this offered an amazing opportunity that I didn't think I was ever going to get presented with when I first started like housing and stuff. So I thought I was just going to build in an apartment. Anyway, long story short though, I decided to go for a small in this thing, and I ended up getting, actually I can even show you, because I'm literally, for anyone who doesn't know, sorry, I'm going a little all over the place, but there's just so much to say here. But, so I'm outside my apartment here, right? This apartment that I've always been building at, and you guys have seen me build it multiple times. So fun fact, my apartment is actually right down the street from Ichi. So here, if I just, let me hide the, let me hide my little tweet thing there, right? So yeah, here we go, sorry, I was looking at my apartment. This is the apartment building that I'm in, right? If you warp to my apartment, you'll see what I mean. This is the apartment, and if I just fly down here, over here, that is Ichi right there, the castle. So my apartment building is actually in the same district as Ichi. Here it is. This is Ichi nightclub, which is still standing. And right here next to it though, Ichi, this is my old house. So this is the small house that I originally got during that Savage, and basically me getting this house completely changed my life and is the reason that I am here right now talking to you all. Because if I had not gotten this house, I would not have built this temple, this Japanese temple that I'm about to attempt to rebuild today. And if I hadn't built this temple, then, and also lived next to Roth completely randomly, he moved in next door here. Roth saw me build the temple and also that bar that I made, but the temple was really, I think, what let him believe fully that I had what it took to potentially bring his vision of building a Japanese or, you know, Asian nightclub to life. So basically, building this temple got me the gig of building Ichi, and then from there, I think many of you know, I mean, that really kicked off everything that you all now know me by. Ichi led to prominence, led to the stream, led to all of this. So, unfortunately, in order to get Ichi, in order to get prominence, which is the large that I own, I inevitably had to give up this small. So I don't own this small anymore, and I do miss it quite a lot. I love the sunsets here. But so to say, I really, really loved this feudal temple build that I made in this house. I really, really did, and I didn't want to have to destroy it, but this was the only way I could get my large. So I've always wanted to rebuild it. I've always wanted to recreate it somewhere and have it kind of standing. And I thought, you know, what better place to recreate it than in the very ward where it originally existed in? But I think what I can do is I can recreate the main temple part in my apartment now. In knowing what I now know about housing, I'm pretty sure I can recreate the main aspect of the temple that I think people really enjoyed the most within my apartment. And so again, showing you the temple itself. this, when you first walked in, this was a small, right? So when you first walked in the door of the small, this was the first thing that you saw. It was this tree that I created, and I really loved this design, this aspect of it too. I really love this bit of it, where I really just this was me experimenting a lot with the lighting within housing and trying to figure out how to create a certain sort of character of light. So a character of light from a warrior of light. Ha ha. So mind you, this is all in late 2020, early 2021. I think this was posted January 19, 2021. So I was building this basically at the end of 2020. So none of the new housing items or anything are in here. So, yeah, so this was upstairs. And then the downstairs looked like this. And so this is the main temple part of the build, and this is the main thing that I'm going to attempt to recreate within my apartment now. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting challenge. First, for many of you who have seen my builds since this, me making this build is actually what informed quite a lot of the design architecture that many of you have probably come to know me by. So a lot of the design patterns and stuff that eventually made it into Ichi, into my Japanese izakaya, as well as other aspects of my FC house, or even other things that I've done, just like concept builds and stuff on the stream maybe. A lot of it was pioneered, in my mind at least, you know, as I was experimenting and creating this Japanese temple. So yeah, so I just thought, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, for months. And so yeah, I decided today might as well be the day that we're going to attempt to do this and see if this is possible. I'm not actually 100% sure if it's possible, but I believe we can come up with something pretty darn close, if we're a little bit crafty here. So yeah, let's get to it. Thank you for listening to my story time. I hope you guys enjoyed that a little bit, and now you know a little bit more of the backstory. Let's see here. How hard is it to make troop stages? One moment. Okay. Let's see. Do I have like the items for this? How many troop stages? I think I need about three troop stages. Okay. You know, honestly, I'll just buy it. Whatever. It's fine. Let's go quick. You guys all there still with me? No one said anything for a little while. Just want to make sure everybody's still okay. We all hanging in there? Okay, No worries, no worries. Yeah. If you guys are, no worries if you're just enjoying the story time and all that stuff. All good. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't drop out, because I know last time on stream it ended up being that a bunch of people couldn't see the stream for a while, so that's why I'm double checking, you know. So not a problem. Okay. So I'm gonna. I didn't actually make a list of all the items that I had used for this build, so I'm gonna eyeball my own build here and try to recall what I did for everything, and I'm almost 100% sure I remember how I did everything. So perks of rebuilding your own build is, okay, so hopefully everyone can see my mouse if you're all curious at me breaking this down. So here we go. I'm gonna item break this down live for you all. Okay, so the ceiling is double feather beds. So we're gonna need some double feather beds. This part is aquariums, two tier 4 aquariums with Hingen, the whatever, Muguzo lanterns, I forget what these are called, floated up. There's also oriental round tables creating little spikes here, coming down from the aquariums. These are all paper partitions creating the foundation all the way around the edge of this. The light box is here with the samurai armor. This is like probably one of the things I'm most proud of in terms of creating like really specific lighting. I spent so much time trying to get this exact effect on the samurai armor where it's exactly the silhouetted, nothing more, nothing less. And that I believe is 3 white rectangular partitions and then framed on either side by glade wardrobes, I think, just to create this little trim on the outside so it creates a little bit of a detail. From the bottom here, these are glade sideboards or I think no, partitioners. I forget the exact term. I believe it's four or five of them all lined up in a row to create this this level change, because this is all in the bottom floor of a small, mind you, right? So I can't sink anything into the floor or float it up from the floor below. So all of the level changes in this thing have to be just sitting on the floor or floating up in midair. Right, so that was a big challenge in this build, is trying to figure out how to create level changes in the temple, despite the fact that I cannot push anything through the floor. So I picked items in this case that create a little lip here that allowed for a level change just above the troop stage level. Hidden within the troop stage, there are NPCs to keep the paper partitions from opening and closing, so that way you don't have that constant sh sound. These are obviously candles. These are the Zabuton cushions. This whole place is bed meted based off of using double feather beds. There's a glade, what is it, a glade hot tub thing that's right here over the top, creating this top area, this top lip, which is a pattern that you probably have seen me use in a bunch of places, including like the recent kitchen build and stuff that I did. There's the bed hanging down here, which is the Hingen bed, and that was used in actually in the outdoor amphitheater. This is actually a pattern I brought back from when I was fiddling around with my very first apartment, and I came up with this pattern for the beds here, and I ended up not using that at the time for the apartment build that I was working on, but I brought it back for this temple. You can see it here, used as well. The beds here hanging from the ceiling to create this pattern. So this pattern, for those of you who know my FC house and the outdoor amphitheater, here, I'll show it really quick actually. I think I can quickly, oh crap. Okay, hold on a second. Let me grab it. Da, 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 da. I can show you guys. Are you guys liking this format, by the way? Do you want to see me just build, or do you like this me like going through the backstory and the lore and the breaking it down of the build sort of as I'm doing it? For anyone who I guess guys, this will be a treat for anybody who's kind of geeky or like curious at all about my very first, or like my I don't know, my backstory, or like who's kind of like followed my work for a while now. Yeah, I think where is it? Where is it? Ah, here it is. Okay. Wait, that's not right. There we go. Okay, so first of all, Fernway Knight, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing, Fernway? Why did that... Wait, what the heck? That's the same. Why did that not? Grr. Clicking the wrong keys or something. Give it a sec, give it a sec. Okay, so, for those of you who have seen my outdoor amphitheater that I built in my FC room, or in an FC room, this is that. And here you go. So you can see, here's that design pattern again. It's the temple. There it is. And this was, funnily enough, I think there's a whole evolution here. I'll go even one deeper, and I'll give you even more backstory about this. Let's check this out. We're gonna put this all in context before I even get started with this build, so that way. So I think something like to me that I want to get across here is that this build is like not just me making me making a cool temple randomly. Like, to me, this is very much recreating a build that was a humongous part of my history. It became a humongous foundational element for everything that I did after in building in 14. So that's kind of why, like, it's important. It's kind of, I don't know, yeah, it's important to me to give a little backstory here for this build in particular, and preface kind of what we're doing and why I'm bothering to rebuild this thing of all things. Okay, so for anybody who's not aware too, there's a hashtag that I was helping to get going called FFXIV first build. So if anybody has not seen this hashtag and would like to contribute to it, basically what the hashtag is everybody share or retweet, if you've already shared in the past, your very first build of anything you've ever done in housing. So the whole idea with the hashtag first build is to show people, to have a centralized place that shows people what a housing build looks like when you're just getting started, right? So most people, when you see stuff on Twitter, it's someone's like 10th or like 100th maybe even build, right? But very rarely do you see somebody posting their very first work where it's like a little bit shoddy. They don't really know how to do a lot of the fancier techniques and stuff. But I think that there's something so beautiful in the idea of showing and kind of like, I don't know, like celebrating the beginner, right? Celebrating those beginner stages where I think it's important that people have a place too to see, not just, hey, look, here's a place where we can all see like how far we've come, but also like, hey, look, that's my favorite designer there, and like, whoa, they were just like me when they started, you know, they didn't like rocket out the gate with like the crazy shit that I know them for. So here you go, here's that moment maybe for some of you, but like this was me submitting my first build submission, and so technically the first thing I ever posted was this microbrew and tap room, which is that apartment bar that I was talking about at the beginning. But the very first thing I ever built was actually this, which is a little bathhouse. It was an attempt at making like this little bathhouse. I was kind of going for this like studio art, you know, like Spirited Away or something kind of thing. This is, I literally, when I first got an apartment, this is like one of the first things I was trying to build and just experimenting with like floating stuff and you know, glitching stuff a little bit. And eventually this led me to experimenting more and more with structure and stuff. And it became, it was like this. And then I started thinking like, what else can I add to this whole area? And I wanted to make like a restaurant in the front. So I made this. And these pieces, this thing that I created, right? These little like overhang things, this bit, right? This is basically the foundation, ends up becoming the foundation for like a huge amount of everything that I've done since, that you all probably know me for. So this is like what creates the Japanese temple, right? Like this is a pattern that this door is in my FC house. This whole structure is basically the outdoor amphitheater. The lighting and stuff on here is used in a whole bunch of places. Yeah, so like this pattern becomes this, which is already up and available. Or rather, I should say, this becomes this temple. And then this temple inevitably becomes this piece in the apartment in my FC house that's currently available and it's currently open. And yeah, and then it becomes Ichi and it becomes the Japanese izakaya and it becomes all kinds of stuff. So, anywho, yeah, there you go. That was a very long explanation for why I'm building this build and why, I don't know, hopefully maybe it has a bit more weight now or something, you know, when you'll see it or as you'll see me building it, it won't just be, oh, that's a fun little temple. For those of you who have watched this and see the build then, I don't know, yeah, I guess I encourage you to kind of see how this, then like if you look at my other builds, you go to Ichi, you go to my FC house, you go to other places, you'll start to maybe see these design patterns a bunch and you'll be like, oh shit, yeah, there it is, you know? So, anyway, yeah, thank you for coming to the story time there. And now you know. So let's get to the structure of this thing. Let's get to carving this thing out. Oh my goodness, that's so pricey. Do I have these paper partitions? I think I have more on my main. I wonder if I can just craft these really easily. Paper partition. So basically the paper partitions form a lot of the base for this whole build. Is the short and skinny on that. Let's see here. Yeah, we can definitely make this cheaper. Okay, I think I need about... Okay, let's eyeball. Let's take a look at this. So, okay, so I need at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I know for a fact up in front. So 6 at least. 6. I think it might even be 8. So 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think it's 8. 8 paper partitions? At least 8. Possibly more. Okay. And in terms of scale, because we're in an apartment, we're going to have to scale bits of this down. So there's some details in here in the original build that I'm going to have to take out, and we're really just going to focus on the main room itself, I think. So we're going to have to, yeah, there's going to be some stuff that if for anybody who is in here and was ever at my original temple or looks at this tweet and sees all the other stuff that's going on, we're really going to be focusing on this particular rebuild rather, of this area, the main interior of the temple, because I think that will translate well into the actual apartment. And also, we literally have half the slots that I would have in the original build, right? So that's very doable though in here. And I think, to be honest, the main visual was inside here and the main thing that I think people would want as the takeaway from this particular build. Yo, what's up, Liara? Welcome back to the stream. Oh, Kara. I'm glad that I can be of entertainment. I'm trying to make story time, you know, interesting and, you know, compelling if I can. Let's see here. Okay, so I think I can make... Oh, T, would you be able to help me with that? That'd be wonderful. I have some mats for one of them. I have one right now, and I can make one, I think, myself. And then if you possibly could make the other 6, that would be great. And then let me know how much it costs you to, and I will happily pay you back. Also, I think I might even pop over to my main and grab double feather beds if I have some left. Although I think I used a lot of them for the Japanese izakaya in my house. We will make the roof probably next time. To be honest, I'm probably going to take down the Japanese izakaya and then reuse those parts for this, because I have some other ideas for that the FC house itself. Okay, so let's see. What is the samurai thing called again? I'm gonna look this up. The samurai armor. Plus the glade car cabinets? Glade. I don't remember what they're called. Wardrobes, I think? Probably wardrobes. To frame out the samurai armor. Yeah, they're glade wardrobes. Okay. Okay, so... Right. White rectangular. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Congratulations, people of the market board. You get my money. Oops. Okay, Hingen armor display, I think, right? It's not Hingen armor. Oh man. Okay, the thing is, I definitely have like the parts from all of these things still available. I think I just need to go and grab them from my main. That's okay. I'm gonna build the structure right now. Especially once Teague can grab those extra paper partitions. So what did I need for those? Paper partitions. Yo, what's everyone working on, by the way? I know some folks here were mentioning they're probably building. I think probably a lot of you are building along with me. What are you all making? Or what are you doing? I don't know. It doesn't have to be building, I suppose. It could be, I don't know, making coffee or something. Oh, this is not too bad at all. Potash. Do I have potash? I could have sworn I have some potash. Oh man, I have so much potash. Woohoo! Varnish. Varnish, dark chestnut lumber. Oh, that's a little pricey, but that's fine. Okay. And then I think I had the dark chestnut and Zelkova lumber on one of these people here. Okay. Dark chestnut lumber and Zelkova lumber. Here we go. Zelkova. Oh, I have multiple dark chestnut. And where's the potash? There it is. Potash. Boop. All right, beautiful. Let's go. Okay, so time to, well, first, I guess, craft this paper partition. Do not have selected materials? What don't I have? Oh, here. Oh, goofed that up. Oops, that's fine. Okay. And let me make sure the house is open so that Teague can get in. You're making more shallow graves in your island sanctuary? Nice. How's the island sanctuary coming along, Alora? I know you were a little hesitant to start it. Now that you have started it, what do you think? Okay. So let's see here. We're gonna frame this thing out. Okay, first things first. So Let's see. You have no idea what you're working on right now, says Maple. Haphazardly throwing things in this house and hoping for the best. Nice. Do you have like any idea what you're going for? Like, vaguely? Like, I mean, a bar, a restaurant, a house? Like any kind of vague idea? No worries if you don't too, though. I mean, that's fine too. Okay, let's see here. So, first things first. So, the temple. So, I think the biggest thing I'm gonna try to do this roughly also in the way that I originally built it. So here we go. This is how this works or worked. Okay, so if we look here, the foundation is the troop stages. This basically the troop stages inform like almost everything else, and they form the basis for which pretty much everything else then comes together. So the troop stages probably go about here. Let's just use about half the room, right? So there's now the entryway. So when you, okay, let's see here. When you load in the room, you're gonna load in like about here, which is maybe a little bit too close to them. Ideally, if we can push them back. Actually, I should try loading in the room and seeing where I go. Because we don't want people to load into the troop stages. We want them to maybe load like right in front and then can walk up into the temple, if anything. So we still need, so we need to do that, but we also need to make sure to leave room in the back here in order to create the actual temple backdrop, right? So, sorry, I realized I need to switch back and forth between the showing the reference and then this. But yeah, so basically when you come here, we need to be able to load into here without hitting the troop stage, have some stairs that lead up into the temple, and then from here, we need to also make sure that there's room back here to effectively do this on either side. So really quickly, it'll be roughly like this. Okay. Yeah, so it's roughly that, right? And you'll see that then see how that works? We have our 3 troop stages, and then we have our 2 little cutouts on the sides, and then it's gonna get framed in. So rough, and then basically it's like, goes like this. And you can see how the temple's already coming together. And the temple wasn't the full width of this, because there was actually, just due to spacing and the way that everything kind of got spaced out, and so it ends up being kind of closer to like this. It comes in quite a bit. Okay. There you go. Okay. Now we can see, right? So there's like there's an armor, and then there's the main altar in the middle. Okay. And then we have these paper partitions here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, what am I doing? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I almost want to say there should be one in the middle or something, but I don't actually think so. Oh, 9, 10. There's 4 up front. I'm pretty positive. I think. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Like, let's see. I'm trying to remember what the pattern I used was. It's this, I think. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yep. Okay. So it's like that. Okay. Vampire lair, maybe. Ooh, we'll see how it plays out. Hell yeah, Maple, that sounds awesome. Perfect for the spooky tour. Which, by the way, just gonna put that out there again. So, 2 things, actually. So, I want to do 2 separate things coming up with all of you, the community. So one, I've already mentioned before, which is in October, probably closer to actual Halloween, I want to do a Halloween builds tour, haunted houses and stuff like that. Whatever spooky stuff you want to do. So basically, that will be a housing tour that focuses on stuff that you guys all submit, and it will be spooky stuff. So again, anything haunted, anything scary, or just cute Halloween stuff. So that's something you can look forward to if you want. Teague, by the way, how much do I owe you for this? Don't say nothing. I want to give you at least something. Please eyeball it. So yeah, so there's a spooky tour in October. And then separately, actually, I was thinking here in September, I kind of wanted to try a thing with all of you that I saw. Oh my gosh, I am blanking on her name right now. Tonkatsu Udon did something on Twitter, and she was doing a challenge build, and she gave a prompt, and I think it was restaurant at the end of the universe, or I think she changed it up a little bit, so it's something. It's a play off the restaurant at the end of the universe thing, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy stuff. But she gave a prompt, and she said people could submit builds, using a hashtag to a Twitter, and it's a great idea. I thought it was really cool. I didn't actually get a chance to submit a build specifically to that thing, but I thought we could do something somewhat similar here, because I've actually wanted to do some kind of a challenge thing too. And originally I was going to do it live, but I didn't have a good way I thought of to do that. But I like the idea of how she did it, where she kind of just threw out a prompt and said people could submit to that prompt. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I have people apply who have the ability to do this. So wait, let me start over. Let me start my sentence over again here, or the thought over. What I want to do is I want to give a prompt, and then I want people to go and use their apartments or FC rooms and build to that prompt. And then we will tour all of the builds that have been that fall within that prompt, basically. And it's not really so much a competition so much as it's much more, we want to see like 10 artists design the same thing, right? You guys have seen this too, right? Like, I'm sure people have seen YouTubes and stuff like that, YouTube videos where it's like 10 photographers take the same photo, right? And so the idea would be like, you have the same model, the same setup. Like, she's like, let's just say it's a blonde girl with an umbrella in a field of flowers, or something like that. Like, that's the general setup. But then it's like 10 different photographers will pose her differently. They'll light her differently. They'll do their own personal edits to the photos, and they'll see what they come up with, right? Or 10 producers flip the same song, remix the same song, right? So what we're going to do here is essentially that, which is I'll give you a prompt, and it's 10 housing designers, you know, design the same thing, basically. So the thing here, though, is I don't have 10 apartments, and I can't just give 10 apartments to people. So I will need people to submit to like a thing that says like, hey, yeah, like I have an apartment and I want to be a part of this thing. And then what's going to happen, though, to make sure that it's a fair comparison, is I want to give the prompt on a specific day to all of the participants, and then on a specific day, I need everybody to submit a screenshot of their final work. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think the coolest thing here will be if people are all given only, like, let's just say 3 days to build this thing, right? So I'll give the prompt, so here's what I'm thinking. It's like next Monday, I give you the prompt, and then next Thursday, we see the builds. Or something like that, you know? So that way, everybody is working within the same time frame and working with the same prompt, and nobody has, like, you know, 3 months to do this, and then someone only hears about it 1 week ago, and it's not really the same thing. You know what I mean? I want it to be kind of like as much of... Like, in a perfect world, it would even be something like you literally all do it at the same time, where you'd all be able to see it all happen at the same time, but that's just not feasible, I think, given the structure of all this, right? So, yeah. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Thank you very, very much, Teague. I very much appreciate that. Also, let me see if I can get... Let's see, I have a chair for you. I got a chair for you if you want to hang out here. I don't know if you got other stuff you want to do. But in case you don't, I will... Here, I'm going to get a chair for you. Bada boom. Okay, there you go. Also, really quick, I'll be right back. I'm just going outside the building to load back in to see how far into the room I loaded. Sounds fun? Okay, sounds like everyone's on board with the idea. Awesome, okay. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm excited then. I kind of want to do it too here early on before we get too far into this month. So, do you think you guys would be ready to go and ready to rock with that idea as early as like next week, like starting next Monday? I'd give the prompt on stream, you know, I'd give it on stream on Monday, and then that way, like, everybody knows exactly when I gave the prompt. And then it would be that next, by like the next, I don't know, like Thursday or something like that, everybody would have to submit a screenshot of what their final thing is. Just so, again, I think what I want to avoid is people, like, I guess, working past the deadline, so to say, or like someone saying, oh, well, they had like way more time to make this thing. I think, again, the coolest thing is if you only had 48 hours to build this thing, what would you do, right? Okay, here we go. I realized I just ran back into the room and I one-track mind, didn't even think about where I walked into the room. Oops. Okay, let's try that again. Like this week is pretty crazy too in terms of builds and stuff. Or in terms, sorry, not in terms of builds, in terms of streams. I have basically a stream every single day this week. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put a chair right behind where I warp in. Okay. Actually, maybe I should put it right in front. Okay. So in theory, most people should warp in and not hit this chair. Okay, so that being said, are these all centered? Yeah, they are. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to again quickly lay this out. How did I do this? So the thing here, so the tricky part here with this particular stuff is to get it where I use minimal NPCs hidden in the floor, right? I should be able to create the whole effect very simply. So we wanted the entryway like this. It needs to be like this. Oh, did I do this? Did I double them up? I might have doubled them up. Here we go. So here's the thing, right? You put the NPC. Okay, so the temple ends up being completely sealed up. So honestly, I do actually think now that I did this, I doubled everything up. And I just made sure to offset it though. Okay, so is anything shifting? Yeah, I think it's close enough. Like, okay, so that it's like that. And then oh, I might even end up needing more paper partitions. More partitions. So there, it's like this. Yeah, there you go. Okay. That's the pattern, basically. Okay, and I don't think I pushed anything into the wall, so I'm pretty sure it's like this. I don't think I did anything like placing from storage. I'm pretty sure I just put these down on the ground. So I think it's like this, and honestly, it actually was like this. So the whole thing here was to try to make this feel like it's one complete uniform piece, so that all these doors, there's no random openings and everything. It just completely feels like a sealed up temple thing. Okay, so I'm probably going to end up needing more partitions here, but so this goes here. That goes roughly there. That goes there. Like that. There you go. Yes, and I remember. So what happens here is on the outside here, there were wooden lofts. So we had, it's basically this. Okay, so you can kind of imagine that's poorly done, but let's see here. Do I have a wood slat or something? There's wood slats. Bada boom. I know I'm going quite fast. But I'm just trying to get the structure all laid out, so that way, hopefully, we can mostly just work on all the polishing stuff more so next time. Oh, that's off center. The chair was roughly center, I think. It might be a little bit off. Oh. I'm gonna center it to the chair, roughly. And we'll go a little bit higher. So I always like to do this where like to make this extremely smooth on the steps, I usually set the top step just below the top lip here so that you don't pop upward, right? Because if you set it like this, where the top step is here, then I know it sometimes comes, you see how your character kind of pops upward, right? That snap, right? So this is smooth. Let me go. There, do you notice that? That little pop, and I don't like how it snaps upward. But I've found a nice way to do that to make it feel very natural, like the progression is very natural. I sometimes will do something like this. I'll even show the top step sometimes. But I sometimes do that, right? And that usually creates a really smooth, like, walk upward. If you can go just below where this thing shows. Right? Then it's perfectly smooth as you walk up the steps. Just a little design touch. Not necessary, I think some people would say, but I think it's necessary. Like, I mean, I love that little bit of extra polish to it, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna run out of paper partitions here. Oops. Here, let's show. It's like this. Okay. For the sake of showing the structure, we'll go like that, and we can even invert this. Okay. And that is the whole temple pretty much laid out right there, right? So you walk in the door, bada boom, here's the temple, walk into it, and this is the whole interior. And then these will actually be... So this will all be held open by NPCs, right? If we make all the NPCs Lalafels, then they will be hidden in the floor, and then you won't be able to see them. And it will just look like all the doors are held open. So here you go. I'm gonna use them as not Lalafels right now so we can see where they are. But basically they're all here like this. Right? So now if I leave the menu, you can see how all the doors are held open, and it creates the little cutouts for our armor to go in. And then also, this creates like a full entryway. So in the original temple, there wouldn't be this gap here. This was a full walkway here. And then that's why also this was a continuous thing where you could just walk through all of this. It's fine though, actually this works fine. Now you can walk up to these little upper areas. So this actually will change the temple design a little bit based off of the fact that we're in an apartment now, but I think it will work out okay. Teague, if you possibly could make 2 more paper partitions, that would be awesome. I think that would be perfect. Let's see, what's going on here? Yeah, see, so this needs to be... I think there's like a magic spot where, like, if you go just enough, this NPC can trigger all of the doors at the same time. Yeah, right there. It's like a little bit forward where he's able, this one NPC is able to trigger all 3 doors here. And same thing here. This NPC's got to trigger all 3 of these doors. Because right now, if I walk away, I think this one might be getting it. But I think one of them is going to slide. But yeah, that's the trick. 4 NPCs holding all of the doors open across the entire thing. And then we have our altar. And I know that the altar was like verdant partition, I think. There's a bunch of things going on for the altar. Oh wait, what do I need here? Oh, Conan, here you go. Let's get a stage panel. And then verdant shelf partition. I might need 2 of them. Okay, so it's like pretty far back. I think. There you go. It's about like that. There you go. So you can start to see the altar. There you go. There we go. So there. That's the whole thing is starting to take shape, right? Also, hello, Noah. Welcome back. Okay, so let's pull up the original image again, right? So just so we can kind of start seeing again how this works. See, there we go. We got like roughly the structure in place with all the paper partitions, and you can see how the cutout from the door or from for the altar is there, and just needs to get filled in with all the altar stuff. Same with the cutouts here for the armor. The white rectangular partitions are there, and then there's all the yellow that's just created using lighting. And we just need some of the framing on there. Okay. Oh, did you grab them already? Beautiful. Thank you, Teague. I'll throw you another. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Helping the stream stay nice and streamlined. Ha! Let's see, this way. And this way. Okay, we'll do cleanup work later, right? There's all this like texture glitching going on and crazy shit happening. So we definitely don't want any of that. And we can easily clean all of that up. But let me just make sure we got to get the spacing and stuff down first before we do all that kind of stuff, you know? So let's see, what was here? The way I figured this out too, so I remember I said the big thing here was I wanted to create a little, like right here, what's going on here, right? There's like a gap. And I kind of wanted to create like a little level change there in a nice way that fit with the textures of the wood and everything. And so what I ended up using was, I went through in this menu and I went to I think it was the shelves and chests here, and I just did this. And I just started plopping items down and just seeing what actually popped up through the floor. So it's like, no, 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 too high, too high, too high, too high, right? And then eventually you get to here. It's like, oh, there we go. This is like just above the floor and I don't have to float anything. See? So these are all like too low. They go below the floor and you wouldn't hit minimum float height in order to float these up. Right? So most of these don't work. Hingen wardrobe's too high, right? If you put that here, that's too high. Oh my gosh. What's even happening? There we go. Yeah. See, too high up, that creates a little bit too high of a pocket. Although actually this could be used for a different kind of look. Like if we wanted something else here, we could definitely swap it out. But I think what I originally used was these partitioners and it goes, there's two of them, right? Side by side, just like that. Bam. And that created, I think, the perfect, little shelf thing with which our armor then sat on. And we float up the white rectangular partitions. We float these upward. So that way you don't see this gap here. And the fact that it's open to the top here means that we can stick a hidden light up here. That is what creates that really nice gradient that comes down on the armor and just illuminates this as like a nice box. So we need at least 4 glade partitioners. I think actually I ended up using 3 more here. So 4, 7, I think. I'm pretty sure it's 7. So let me make this window a bit smaller again. Wait, actually, oh there, I already have 4 of them on her, so I need 3 more of these, I think. Here we go. Retrieve, retrieve, retrieve. I think I'm going to end up needing some of these other things in here, but I don't know exactly what they are yet. Okay, so it ends up being like... Oh, maybe I don't actually need... There we go. It's... I think, yeah, there's like a little bit of overlap thing going on. Oh gosh, all the texture glitching. But yeah, so then it becomes like that, which creates a little like lip going across. Right on top of here, I floated a glade sideboard or something, which is where the little incense sits. And then there's an altar that gets created here using the Oriental altar. Right? This thing. If I can grab it, which I can't. Oh, sorry, Teague. But yeah, so this eventually goes here. Boom. Armor, altar, lights, needs the 2 aquariums up, the aquariums up top, and then we will need a whole bunch of double feather beds that line the sides here, and you lay them out so that they all mesh together and create a seamless ceiling. Except for the bit that lines the middle here, they don't quite overlap, but they actually still create a continuous bed-meted ceiling. Then there's a glade hot tub that goes here. Let's see. Oh yeah, glade wardrobes on either side of these just to create little trim that brings. I thought that the boxes were a little too clean and they needed a little bit of a feudal-y kind of design touch, so I lined these with glade wardrobes. And then the candles go here, cushions go here. And that's the temple, I think, for the most part. Oh, and there needs to be something here above this door as well to seal this part off, since that part is very much like just kind of hanging out in the open. But we might be able to, let's see. We'll have to come up with something interesting to do with that, given now that this functions a little bit differently than the original temple. So originally outside here, there was this area, lofted area, and then actually in front of here was a little garden where I had factory grates in the front here, factory grates, and then below that I had greenery. So it looked like it looked like you walked down into this like almost like a hidden grotto area with like that was overgrown, and there was metal grating that kept you floating above the sort of overgrown underbrush, and then you'd walk up into the temple. But I mean, I spent a lot of time creating that effect in the small, but I think due to the limitations of an apartment and the space we have here, we kind of can't fully make that. We might be able to make it a little bit right here. I don't know how that works with loading in, though, in an apartment. We could experiment with that, though. And yeah, then let's see, that's the basic core right there. I think I just explained pretty much the whole core of the apartment. That's the usual nope, nope, nope. Going back to lurking. Selena, you hear you lurking still? What do you mean? I'm Which, what part are you nope, nope, noping about? But also, hi. Okay, let's see here. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Yeah, it looks pretty bad right now. It looks very, it's, you know, it doesn't have all the ambiance, the mood. And so much of this build really hinges on setting the mood and the ambiance just right, and really getting like the character of the light really specific. I think that's something that I really learned a lot about when I was building this, was really, I think that's like, yeah, that's really, that's really the thing I focused on a lot in here. But the actual structure itself is not as crazy maybe as some of the other stuff. Oh, actually, I don't know. There is quite a lot of good layering and stuff here. It's very strategic. There's a lot of very strategic stuff that happened with this temple that I'm rather proud of how it turned out. And I know, I'm not saying I'm the first person to ever invent doing a temple or anything like that, but I definitely sort of did it my own way. So, I guess, I should give a shout out though, that definitely the temple, some of this was inspired by the work of Noa Saitoshii. So, shout out to Nora. I did not completely make this in a vacuum. I think that's about using the item preview. Oh, I see what you're saying. Using item preview and just saying, you know, oh, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so what else did we do here? Gonna pull up some more the reference here again. So here's some alternate shots that I had. Oh, here you go. The thing I was talking about, right? Where outside the temple originally had the walkway here, right? So this is like you can see how originally there was like a awning that you kind of could walk onto. And when you first walk down the steps, then there was actually the grates here. And below that, there's all this greenery and stuff. And with some subtle lighting, like underglow happening here. And so, yeah, it had this very moody atmosphere where it felt like, again, you were kind of walking, you know, this is like the, I don't know, not tourist area, but it's kind of like the reinforced area because this part kind of gets overgrown. And they preserved, presumably, this sort of hidden temple below here. And you kind of got to walk on the walkway and then actually walk up onto the wood of the actual ancient temple. So we can't really do this fully in the way that I did it here. And same with like how intricate the roof and stuff here is. I think due to some slot limitations, we're probably going to not be able to completely do this. But we might be able to work in elements of these to kind of keep the same vibe going on out here. And then let's see. There we go. Here's a better close-up of the actual altar and stuff itself, right? So we have the glade. Here you can see a little bit on the. Here, let me make this a little bit smaller. Right. So here's our altar, and you can see the little glade partitioners right here, same as we have right now currently. And then we have a glade side cabinet, so it's just this. Where is it? Drawer table, that's the one. Here we go. Right? There's a glade drawer table which is floated up. So actually I'll need to float this up because it sits too low right now. But it gets floated up so it sits on top of those. On top of which we have like flower pots with like the incense and stuff and little flowers coming up. And then back here, the actual altar part, this is the Oriental altar. These are the same lanterns that we saw up top above the actual structure. Then there's a side table, which is... I'm trying to recall exactly all the items that were used in here. There's a lot of layering going on the altar, even though it was actually pretty dark and most people probably never even noticed. But that's okay. I noticed. I knew. So it's the sitting table to create the little extra gold trim and ornamentation. Then there's, I believe there's a gnawed lectern. Flip backwards. So there's this. It's this flipped around like this, though. And a big thing is, I think that the lights or the torches are hidden, but in the original build, actually, the flicker that they give off was I made it so that the flicker was still there, and so that the altar was kind of flickering in its lighting, which added a lot of really nice ambiance to it. Let me close this up again. So, right, you can see how the lights, this part here kind of flickers. So if you can imagine right there, see the stage panel here, right? And if I take this and I move it just, let's see. Oh, okay, I think it has to be like this. Okay, it's like that. Then you rotate it behind, and there you go. Do you see? So by doing it like that, you don't actually get the torches. I think I ended up making it more subtle than that, but you can see how you can still get the flicker from the torches, and then that would add a lot of ambiance to the room itself, and sort of like, I guess, give the altar a little bit more of like a mystical looking thing going on. And I think there's even another table that's floated up there to fill in the gaps, because this is on the floor. The lectern is on the floor, and then there's the sitting table that's floated up. But if I remember correctly, that still leaves some like kind of awkward looking gaps and stuff in the actual structure here. And so to cover that out, I ended up using another table, and there's actually something filling in here too. So, right, because you want to hide all this gunk, right? So to create this clean area here, this is not quite wide enough. So you need something also right there. And I think we ended up using, oh, actually, no, I know what it is. So here's how this works. The Glade wardrobe, right? I mentioned that I use the Glade wardrobes, right? And they get dyed really dark, like here or something, right? And then they go, oh, it's not that dark. You know what? I'll just leave it on preview. Okay, so they end up going like this, right? And then they get dropped right here. And then they just create this really nice little trim here, right? So see how that works right there? So the main thing here was like I wanted to create a little bit of extra visual detail here for where the armor is getting framed, right? But then the nice thing that works out with this is some slot efficiency where it's not only adding detail, right? But on the reverse side here, right? You have this same trim, but it also does this, but it also helps seal this area off, right? So you're killing two birds with one stone. You're hiding all that crap from the gnawed lectern and anything else that's hidden in here, but then you're also getting the detail here on this side. And I think that's one of the reasons I ended up using this item the way that I did, was because it was that two birds for one stone thing where it was adding this really nice touch over on this side, but also cleaning this area up. And you can see how these all start to blend together pretty seamlessly, where it starts to look like one singular wood structure. Right? Because that's a big thing here too, is you don't want it to look like this is like a mismatch of like 10 different types of wood. So yeah, Glade wardrobes, we need 4 of those. Let's see here. And I'm pretty sure these are pretty easy to make. Steel hinges, yew lumbers, walnut lumbers, yeah. So I'm gonna write this down so that way I can make sure to even start getting these by next stream for sure, if not sooner. Okay, so we need 4 Glade wardrobes, 2 Hingen armors. I think it's something like 12 double feather beds. Let's see here. What was that thing called? What was this table? And is this craftable or is this NPC item? It was the Oriental something, I think, or Hingen sitting table. That's the one. Hingen sitting table. Oh, it is a NPC item. So, okay, Hingen sitting table. 1 Glade side drawer. Then 1 gnawed lectern. The Asian altar. What is that thing called? Altar. Oriental altar. Set of incense, which I believe is from the NPC. We need 4-ish vases. 4 Glade vases. 1 Hingen bed. To go, actually possibly 3 Hingen beds. So, 3 Hingen beds. Yeah, so actually here, if I bring this back up, right above here, there's this single bed, but actually I can see right here, I have 3 beds layered together because 1 bed wasn't quite enough to cover this whole pocket. So it's actually 3 beds layered next to each other to create a uniform looking structure there. Then there's one, I believe it's an oriental tub. I think this is a hot tub, or what is it? Oriental bathtub, that's the one. Oriental bathtub. 2 tier 4 aquariums. And then like 10 of the lights. What are they called? Hingen Chochin lanterns. Oh, and 2 of the oriental tables, I want to say. Round tables, yeah. Which I definitely have, and they're also from NPCs. Possibly 4 of them, actually. How many slots is that? I think we're gonna need to simplify something here because that's a lot of slots. I can, right, we're already at 40. Wow, okay. So yeah, we might end up needing to truncate a few things out or simplify some stuff, but overall, that's generally speaking how we can do it. So actually, this is gonna be where we get a little bit clever potentially, with the fact that we now have different housing items that I never had access to in the original build, as well as I probably have some extra structural knowledge based off of stuff I've now done, and so I think we can. You have something else for me, T? What's up? Oh shit! Nice. Thank you, thank you. Woohoo! Okay. So again, I'm very roughly doing a lot of this, so a lot of this is going to be very not precise and misaligned and stuff. But it's just it'll get you the idea of where we're going to head with all that, right? So. There you go. What was that? The Hingen Chochin. Do I have more of those? I hope I do. I think I have them in my other house, if anything. I guess I don't. I definitely have them around from other places, though. I'll have to find out where they are. But yeah, okay, so... Yeah, there we go. You can see that this kind of pocket coming out. See, I want this pole to match here, so I need to, like, fiddle around with the positioning on that. It's a very important, like, little structural thing, right? Is this corner doesn't make a lot of sense structurally, but this does. That looks like it tracks. So this all has to push out at least 1 snap, if not more. What's happening here? There it is. It should look like that. Why is that one so much farther out? Okay, something is a little weird here. Oh, I see what it is. This is actually this paper partition is creating the pillar here, not this one. And on this side, I was using this one as the meter, not these ones. So this really should be, it's that. There you go. Right, with this door right here. So this should go right there and come out this way, 1 click, because it was like that. So it needs to be like this. And then if I bring now this other one forward, how do I get that? Let me grab that one. Let me grab this one. There it is. Bring it over here for a second. Okay. There we go. That's more like it. Boom, there we go. Okay, so now we have our structural pattern here, which looks like the whole thing's actually framed out. Same thing here on the back side. This needs to be all pillars on every corner, and then the main ones in the middle. There we go. And again, we'll clean this up by offsetting all of these by basically 1 pixel or something. So we can eventually do, you know, all of these will be like, just like that, right? Just offset just a smidge. And these are bumping into these retainers, I think. So that's what are these NPCs. That's why they're going purple there. But yeah, see, that instantly solves the glitching problem. This one too, just nudge one backwards. Boom, it's gone. We'll do the same thing for basically all of these. And then like this. And I'll fix that too, because I don't want that little bit off. So you just either realign it, or we could even create a pattern where we go, you know, 1 forward like that. There, it's symmetrical on either side with the little extra details popping out. So yeah, right, as opposed to this, see how that's mismatched? And this looks uneven and unpurposeful. But that looks just like it's a little bit extra ornate. So that bit of layering like that is, you know, this is something I like to think about when you're doing these sort of structural elements and repeating patterns all over the place, is if you can use the patterning built in here to your advantage and create more ornate structures that way, then you can do that, you know? Let's see, what is Noah saying here? So Noah's saying, I wish I had picked my very first build, but I was such a perfectionist that I kept tearing down things if it wasn't perfect. Would have been nice to reflect on progress. Ah, yes. I know what you mean. So like, I'm not sure, Noah, if you were here at the very beginning of the stream when I was first talking about my very first build, which, like when I was showing this. Hold on, let's bring it back up. When I was first talking about my first build, which was this, right? A similar thing, right? Where I didn't necessarily take pictures of all the steps along the way. And then especially like from this build, actually, this is like the first thing that I ever built. But then I ended up, the first thing I ever posted was this build, which is very different. And there's a big transition period between that very first sort of bathhouse oriental looking build to this taproom microbrewery. There's some elements that persisted between the two, but there's like basically it's nothing alike. And I don't really actually have, I think, that great documentation of what I did in between in some cases. I can explain everything that I did, I mean, and raffle it off the top of my head for the most part. But I don't have like proof or documentation, I think, of every step. So same thing with like building this, I guess, originally. I don't have, well, I did take quite a few screenshots, but I don't have like a video of it. So it's kind of cool that this time around now I'll have like a video here showing it all coming together. I wish my computer was capable of recording, like streaming out to OBS here with like the chat overlay and everything like that, but then also recording a clean version of it. But that's not really how that works out, I don't think. But yeah, let's see here. How are we doing on time? 15 minutes, okay. Yeah, I think a bunch of, I'm gonna grab, I have a bunch of the items that I need for this on my main or scattered across my other characters. But I think we can definitely make this happen. Okay, so 40 items. Let's think here. First of all, we need, yeah, the hanging things, hanging junction. What are we gonna do out here? So like a lot of the stuff that I jotted down involves the main area in here. But then I do think that it is important that we figure out something to do with outside here. And it could be as simple as using the overhanging bed structure or something like that. Or even, honestly, even some pawns, you know? I mean, just the good old pawn meta. Just to maybe make this once again kind of like a temple that's hidden somewhere. I do like me some hidden temples, you know? So you can take like this, right? This would be like a really quick and easy way to cover a lot of space, right? I think so 2 of these would cover this whole entrance area and allow us to just basically seal off everything above, like maybe that point right there. I can't, oh, come on, camera. There we go. Okay, there we go. So like, see like right along this line here, maybe we just seal this off. And then it just becomes like, I kind of like that actually. I kind of like this idea of that it's like a Indiana Jones, you know, Temple of Doom kind of thing, right? Like somewhere hidden, Tomb Raider style, right? So yeah, seating area with ponds and greenery. So that would be nice, Noah. Although the thing is, I don't think they were going to have very many slots. But yes, you're right. I do think that something with the ponds and the greenery or something to that effect would be really nice out here. I'm not sure. We'll have to come up with a really economic way to do that. But you're right. I mean, actually, I never had access to this eastern indoor pond, so I could see a version of this where we even do like this. Where we even have... Oh my gosh, really? You know, something like this. And we have the ponds on either side. And maybe just some gravel here. Honestly, that could be a nice simple solution. Is ponds on the roof, ponds on the floor, and then wool rugs here to create the gravel look. And then just have this be a little like walkway that just walks right through the ponds and walks up to the temple. And then seal it off so we don't have to deal with the roof. And it's just going to be a completely sealed in temple that you won't really be able to see the roof. Because again, I think a big thing here is we're going to create the illusion that this is not in an apartment, similar to the outdoor amphitheater. So yeah. But yeah, no, but I mean, I think the idea with, I would love to have some sort of a outdoor type feel here that captures something, a bit of that feel that I was going for when I had the original build, which was to have that very distinct outdoor area, right? There was this very distinct green area outside the temple that I originally had, like the factory grates and stuff that I was using to create that. And I think that might be a little tough to do. But yeah. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the slots work out. I think we can be clever with the slots. And if anything, again, I think there's possibly some things in here that I didn't have access to back when I first built this that we now do. And that could help us to save on some slots maybe. And I could create this more efficiently than I once did. Why not improve it a little bit, right? Change things up a little bit. So yeah, I'll try to grab all the items that we're gonna need to be floating and stuff up before next stream, so that way we don't have to be crafting or gathering them. And then it's more just like really building out the rest of the structure. I think we can do this in 2 streams, roughly. I think. It might be that we just spend a little extra time on Thursday, like maybe, 3 hours, 4 to 7. But I'm pretty sure we can do it. Yo, what's up, Joe? Welcome back. Welcome to the stream. Hello. And let's see here. Yeah, I'll have to play. I have a little like you can make a little spreadsheet or something like that, just to kind of help you figure out item slots to make sure that you're not going to go like way over slot limit. But Oriental tub here. Altar. Yeah, I think a big thing is going to be simplifying a bit of the altar, maybe, because I know originally the altar piece that I had right here was really fancy. This whole altar thing is quite fancy. There's a lot of detail going on here, but again, I think actually it was so detailed, but it was so at the same time so dark and moody that I feel like there's probably some more precise ways to create this effect and the same ambiance, but not having to use quite so many items. I think I now know a bit more about structure and housing and stuff, that I can create this more efficiently. 'Cause I think that was something that I was very proud of originally, was how I created like the cutouts with the samurai armor, right? Is pretty minimal in the item slots that are used, but it creates a really dramatic effect, right? And if anything, actually, the samurai armor is almost overshadowing the altar itself. So I think that would be something we can explore, is still using the samurai armor type cutouts, but then trying to really simplify the altar and really make that pop a little bit more in a way that I wasn't quite able to capture probably as good as I could have back when I first made this in 2020. So, yeah, bringing my 2022 knowledge to this. This will be an interesting take on this, yeah. Quint the Kid, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. Oh, interesting. Wait, why is... Oh, it's the cheer badge. Never mind. I was thinking, why does your sub badge look like that? That's not a sub badge. That's the cheering badge. Okay. Yeah. Sweet. I have a lot to prepare for Thursday, but yeah. Okay. I'm going to start wrapping up the stream for today here. Just because, again, I think this is great. We got the whole structure laid out for the temple. And that, I mean, that was a big piece, is literally just making sure that the structure could actually fit again within an apartment space. And then next time we're going to add a lot of the stuff that really makes this thing come to life. And that'll be on Thursday, 4 to... I'm pretty sure we're going to go 4 to 7 on Thursday, but definitely 4 to 6. But 4 to 7 if not. And since I have you all here, might as well also mention, so this week is pretty jam-packed. So we got this stream today. Then on Wednesday, we have Prominence Nightclub, which is going to be 7 to 10 p.m. PST. I'll be DJing again. We have our new offerings and stuff, and we're going to be refining a few things. For those of you who are there on the previous Wednesday opening, we're going to be refining a few of the things that we were doing and trying to touch up some stuff. That's Wednesday, 7 to 10 p.m. PST. Thursday, we'll be back in here, hopefully finishing this temple rework, this rebuild, I guess. that will be 4 to 6/7 p.m. PST. Then a whole bunch of DJ sets on the weekend, literally one every day. So Friday at Meowie Juana, I'm gonna be playing from, oh man, it's gonna be really late at night. I'm gonna be playing from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. EST, so technically Saturday morning, or sorry, PST. So technically Saturday morning. So this will be 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. EST. That's Friday. And then Saturday, I'm over at Twisted Destiny from 6 to 9 p.m. PST. And then on Sunday, we have the Prominence Garden Party from 4 to 6 p.m. PST. And I know that's a lot of information, so basically, if you want to see all that broken down, then you can look at my Twitter, where I have posted the schedule for this week, as well as in my Discord. There's also a schedule section of my Discord in case anybody was not aware. You can look at the events or the actual channel that I have as stream schedule, and you can see all the dates as well as the times and stuff there. Since I know that most of you probably don't have that all memorized. Heck, I didn't have that memorized. I was referencing something. So yeah, a lot of exciting things this week. And then I'm thinking, I think what I was hearing on today's stream is that everyone's pretty excited and interested in this idea of doing the challenge build. And that it sounded like a bunch of you would be ready as early as the beginning of next week to get that ball rolling. Did I hear that correctly? Housing friends who would be interested in participating in the housing challenge build, would you be ready to potentially start building next Monday? And this would be, again, a timed thing where I'm going to give you from, like, let's just say Monday to the following Thursday, or Monday to Thursday. And it's really about like what you can do in a limited amount of time with a specific theme. And you would need to be using your own apartment, okay? Or FC room, apartment or FC room, right? The idea is to keep things as simple and as consistent as possible, right? So everybody would be using an apartment, everybody would be using the same theme, and everybody would have the same time frame. And I'm going to add this in too. I'm thinking I'm going to make it no third-party tools, right? I know, so I've mentioned before that like I'm not going to be the one policing third-party tools and stuff, but for the sake of this build, I do want to make it clear that you can't be putting stuff in the void or throwing stuff through the floor using any kind of anything, right? So this would be like just what you can do with an apartment. And I think this will be really cool because it'll be a great showcase of like, hey, look, this is how creative you can get with all this, right? One prompt, like how many of you, like, I don't know, that's right, 5 of you right there, right? Like five different 5, 6, 7, 8 designers all using the same thing, only in an apartment, no third-party tools used, and it'll be like a really cool display of like what's possible. I think people will really get a big kick out of this. And of course, all of the final builds will be shown on stream. I'll do like basically like a tour through all of them, so you all get featured on stream. But I want to say this too. It's not a competition. I maybe we'll think about what something like a prize or like a thing could be, but it's not. I'm not going to be judging you and comparing you and saying there's a winner here per se. It's really about seeing people's creativity and seeing what you can come up with here, and really seeing how awesome that can be and how interesting that can be, you know? So cool. All right. So I think I'm going to have to coordinate that. I'm going to have to think about how I want to run that. I'll talk about it probably more on Thursday, and then I'll also be like, you know, sending out a message in Discord, I think, to you guys. I'll make note here too, kind of like who all everybody is here. Yodrin, do you have a different name in Discord? Or are you Yodrin in Discord? But anyway, yeah, so to say, by next, we'll probably start the challenge. I'll be giving the prompt like next Monday, I think. Yeah. Again, I'm gonna have to work that out a little bit, but just in case you need to start cleaning out your apartment or like kind of that kind of thing, then you know, you've been given fair warning. And yeah. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm excited. That sounds awesome. I'm excited to be able to have this temple build done and show it off. You know, be able to, for many of you who never got to see the temple back when I lived next to Roth, you'll finally get to like see a version of one of the builds that I've always been most proud of, finally recreated. And then, yeah, and then we can do the challenge thing. And then, like, that's basically starting to get us almost into October, and starting to get us into spooky Halloween territory, where we start working on that kind of stuff. So, yeah, awesome. Cool. Hey, other question for you all. Although I just lost it. Wait, what the heck? Oh my gosh, my brain is like right now. My goodness. Where did that? Woo, that thought just like freaking pieced out. Went on vacation. Okay, maybe I don't have a question for you. I'll have to table that. Whew. I cannot for the life of me remember what I was gonna say. Well then, okay. Oh, yeah. I remember now. I was gonna ask this. This is more of just like a general question that I'd like to ask all of you, all you folks who enjoy my stream and everything. Okay, here's the thing. So I've mentioned this before. I've mentioned before that a big goal of mine, and something that I'm in everything that I'm building, and especially like the main builds like Prominence, Obsidian, the work at my FC house and stuff. A big thing for me is that I really want to create spaces that all feel kind of interconnected within sort of my unified vision and my sort of unified world almost. And especially I want to make spaces that we can use, that you guys, you know, really enjoy being within, even if I'm not necessarily streaming in them, you know. And I want to create, you know, like the perfect hangout spots per se. And I think a big one has always been, I really wanted to turn my FC house and sort of the rooms and stuff there into like what would equate to like the perfect hangout spot slash like almost like adventurer tavern hall thing, you know, that similar to like if you know you watch like isekai animes or, you know, I don't know, maybe fantasy TV shows and stuff like that. There's usually like in a town, there's usually like a central tavern or something that everybody goes and hangs out with every day, basically after they go adventuring or whatever. So my question though to you is, when you're hanging out in the game and you think about like what you like to do when you're not like raiding or whatever, that kind of thing, what draws you to a hangout spot? Like what would get you wanting to come over to, let's just say, a theoretical hangout venue spot at my FC house or something, right? Like, what would encourage you to go there? Like, it's genuinely like an open-ended question, and I want to know from all of your perspective, you know, what things would make you excited to go to something, you know, and whether it's something that I've already done that you want to see more of, or whether it's something that you've seen at your own FC house, or even like your friend's house or something like that, and you're like, this feature about it makes me keep coming back and back. You know, for example, maybe, oh, they have, you know, I really love my friend's house. They have like a hot spring thing. And so we always go hang out in the hot spring area. Or this person has a photo, you know, another idea would be like photo studio. You know, I really love that my friend has a photo studio. I use it all the time. You know, and so I'm curious, do you guys all have thoughts about that? And this is something that I really first and foremost want all of your ideas on, the people, especially, you know, who are regulars here and who are, who I think would probably be most interested in hanging out. Although honestly too, if we have any lurkers out there too, who have thoughts on this, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. Especially if it would mean that you'd want to come hang out more, you know, I mean, I want to make this to my taste, but I very much also want to make it with an understanding of what other people want as well, right? Make it something that you would really enjoy, you all would really enjoy. Anyone have thoughts on that? Okay, so Nimbus is saying, I don't go to a lot of RP spaces outside of clubs since I'm not good at it. So I'm not much help here, but I really like the idea. Yeah, okay, so just to be clear about this, Nimbus, and for anyone else, so I think there's an aspect of like anytime you're sort of quote unquote hanging out in the game, there's the level of RP related in there, in that technically we're not actually physically together, right? But I do want to make it clear, this wouldn't be a space where you would have to specifically like role play per se. You know, like very much it's a casual thing that we could talk, like we don't have to talk in character, so to say. If that is at all anybody's worry here, this would not be a spot where it's like you have to RP and speak in RP talk and like be in a character or anything like that, right? Like it's very, and that's the thing, is I really want to create a space where even casual folks, you know, that we all hang out with, like, would want to just be like, yo, like, this is like my happy place where I just like to like AFK in, basically, even, right? Like, you know, I just come here because I just like the vibe, you know? When I'm working on my drawing IRL or something like that, I want like a cool space to hang out in. I don't know if anyone else does this, but like, so like something that I do a lot of times when I'm working on stuff is I will find a YouTube video of like rainy mood or something, and like a really nice like ambience or something, backdrop, and I'll just put it on. And it's just like white noise and like background, but it helps set like a mood and a tone for kind of like what I'm doing and kind of make a peaceful space, right? So that's like kind of the thing here, right? Is it's partially like a hangout side of stuff, right? Like it's partially like a place where we could hang out and do activities, but it's also just like, I'd love to make your favorite place to AFK, your favorite place to just be in, right? When I'm waiting for the duty finder and I kind of want to just chill and chat with people a little bit lightly. Oh, like, yo, what's up, man? Like, you know, cool to see you. How are you doing? Right? You know, like how, you know, like Tegan and Joe were here and just like chilling while we were doing this, right? So, I'd love to make this space where there's just people from my stream just go and hang out, you know? You just kind of hang out and you just AFK and just chill in each other's presence while you're working on other stuff or while you're waiting for duty finders. Heck, if a bunch of you are all there and you're like, yo, have any of you guys done duty roulettes? Let's all go do it together, right? So that's like really what I'm going for here, right? I think I want it to be a fusion where we can do activities in this house, right? And in this space. But I really also want it to just be like a space that has a lot of like, not autopilot, but kind of like, there's just things that you could just casually do, pick up anytime. You just come anytime you want. If there's nobody there, so here's like loose pitch. I want to put some rooms that have maybe some photo booths, right? And then I want to have some rooms that are like more like zen'd out spaces that are more like just like I want a space to just like chill with like stars or something like that. Just like a beautiful like chill space to just like meditate or whatever, you know? And then I also want but then one of the areas could be like a little bar. So for the people who are feeling a little more chatty, they could go chill at the bar area and kind of like just chat and stuff like that, right? And more and more, I think as people would it's like, oh, when I log in, I just pop over there and just see who's there. And if like enough people started doing this, you'd kind of have this general auto flow of people kind of always flowing in and out. And I think it'd be really cool as both a way for a lot of you on the stream to have another chance to interact with each other and like hang out and meet and maybe even form, duty parties and stuff like that. And form friendships and that kind of thing. But then also, again, just to be like, hey, I want to create some perfect ambiance areas, spaces that you could just go and hang out and they could become your favorite AFK spots in the game kind of thing, right? Yeah. So you just chill wherever you're building or someone else. You just chilled outside Prominence earlier this morning. Yeah, exactly, Sukiko. So like that. So what I'm trying to ask though from all of you is like, well, what would help make some of these a spot, a place that you'd want to come hang out, and I understand that's a little hard to pin down, right? Sometimes it's like, well, I think for Prominence, it's like a lot of people have maybe a lot of association there, like where we've partied there a lot together, so there's an attachment there. And I know that, that absolutely plays a big part in it, right? Is like that I think we want to host things. I want to host things at my FC house. Right. Speaking of which, like Joe, I mean, I've been wanting to bring you over to the FC house and have you perform because I know you're a wonderful bard, and I think it'd be really cool to have like a hangout at the FC house and have you perform, and then us all be able to hang out in the Discord and all just chat and talk while we listen to your music. And this would be another thing, right? Is like within the FC house there is already the outdoor amphitheater. Right, so how cool would it be to be able to have that space where that like sometimes Joe will just come by and if people are around and he's like, hey, does anybody want to hear some bard music? There's a space for him to just hop up on that stage and just go. And like whoever's chilling out there, wants some nice little, MIDI music to listen to, which honestly, I love the vibe of bard music in the game. I think it's so simple but so beautiful and so cool and nostalgic, and little things like that would happen, right? So this is what I want to create at the FC house. This is a sort of the sort of paradise sanctuary kind of thing that I want to make for us to all exist in together and to create these memories and to create this vibe. So putting that out there, that is kind of a big thing that I really want to really try to hone in on a bit more in the coming weeks and months, is really trying to do something interesting with that space. And I think if if I can get some good feedback from all of you and have some audience participation, so to say, you guys come out and hang out and stuff too. I mean, I think it could become something really special, you know? Like, I really just love this idea of us having this, like, adventurer tavern, basically, that's just, like, everybody's go-to spot, you know? That they just always go and they know it's just gonna be, like, a really nice, cool time. And it can be as live, you know, certain areas that will be lively, but then other areas will be really chill. And so you can always just kind of, like, have that as your, like, little go-to sanctuary, you know, that you get to hang out in. Yeah, planning some Discord hangouts and events and stuff so that we can all... Definitely, yeah. Yeah, so I would love to have some, like, little concerts maybe that we throw there. Something... So here, I'll throw this out here too, since we're all just, you know, I'm just shooting the shit, and I'll tell you what some of the things I have planned. So one of the things that I want to do is, like, I want to throw a Halloween party for all of us. So I think I'll tell you right now, I'm probably going to spend a bunch of October on several of the housing streams reworking a decent chunk of the house/yard into, like, a haunted house of some sort, or like a kind of Halloween hangout, of which then somewhere near to the week of Halloween, we host, like, a hangout where all of us get to hang out just on VC and stuff and have, like, a Halloween party together, maybe a costume contest, you know, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, like, again, like, Bard, like, concert nights or something like that. I think similarly, you could have a holiday party there. Definitely. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing a lot more of, like, you know, wanting to have some of the VC just, like, hangout chats and stuff. That'd be cool, yeah. I think, yeah, so does that sound interesting to people? Like, I mean, the having more hangout stuffs, and then, yeah, I mean, I guess just that, right? Like, I mean, having more of those kinds of things. Would you bring your friends to something like that? You know, I mean, would you bring your friends out if we had, like, a Halloween party, and or, you know, if we started to do more activities at the house all together and stuff, like, I just think it'd be really, I really want to figure out a way to make this work. I don't know how exactly to get it to sort of the full vision that I have, but I really want to create this. The term I've used when I talk to some friends about this is, like, it's like kind of like I'm trying to build almost like a Disneyland kind of thing, you know? Sorry, like, I hope I don't get demonetized for saying that, but, like, you know, like, this sort of, all of the pieces of the builds and the things that I'm creating kind of all fall within a sort of unified vision and theme and aesthetic. That's all very filtered through, like, my taste and kind of this vision of I have for sort of a, you know, like, architecture and design and things. And I want it to feel like this kind of cohesive, you know, multi-space area thing where you really can kind of fall in love with the whole vision of the thing, and it becomes this you know, almost like a little mini town of some sort, almost, right? Or a little, like, a neighborhood, right? Where you kind of get to buy into the whole thing as a whole and how it's all interconnected, and that there's, you know, you know, there's a bar there, there's a club there, right? Prominence, right? There's prominence, there's a club within that space. There's an underground club, there's Obsidian, right? There's, you know, there's your favorite tavern, there's a stage where we have concerts, there's, you know, spaces where we do photo studios, there's, like, places to chill out, like bathhouse and that kind of thing, right? And it all kind of would be unified by my vision for it, as well as my, I guess, a sort of aesthetic in some sense, right? So I think something I've been thinking about a lot lately is really trying to double down on bringing this to life. And I say that because I think a lot of my effort so far on the stream has been split a little bit between sometimes doing this, but then sometimes I've been just kind of creating fun little, side projects and these other things. But I think there's so much that I want to do to really bring this vision home and bring it to life. And I think if we could get it working together, I think it could become something really spectacular and really special for all of us to enjoy. And it could become a real thing that brings us all together and creates again your sort of sanctuary to do your best work, maybe, or to find friends and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And yeah, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I mean, I think I very much see like myself within this whole space of streaming and the 14 and at least in the 14 space, but even as an artist in general, I see bringing this vision to life as much more of my thing that I want to do. That I don't want to just be a DJ and she just plays. I mean, I want to also do that, but I don't just want to be a DJ, and I don't just want to be the guy who does housing tutorials. Again, I want to do those things, but I think the big thing here, the big idea, the big vision is this. So I kind of wanted to start driving that home more and making that more transparent to everybody. And I hope you'll help me figure out, how I can do that. So we'll have to figure out definitely some changes are coming a little bit to how I might do some of the stuff, some of the streams, or the Discord is going to be having some reworked stuff. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that basically all the ideas we raffled off today, I think it sounds like a bunch of you guys are pretty on board with that and very interested in this. So yeah, we're gonna make this happen. I'm gonna really try to make this happen. I think it could be something spectacular. But for now, I think I'm going to call the stream here, though, and we will pick up again on Thursday. But on Wednesday, Prominence Nightclub open again, 7 to 10 p.m. PST. I'll throw up the flyer right here. Where is it? There you go. This Wednesday, September 14th, 7 to 10 p.m. PST. Prominence Nightclub. There's the address, too. If you want to take a screenshot of that, you can share with your friends and whatnots. And again, I want to mention, we talked about a lot of stuff today, and the best way, at the moment at least, to keep in touch and get notifications for all the upcoming things, as well as get in the loop about that special challenge build, about how to get on the eventual haunted housing tour, all these kinds of things. The best way that I have right now to communicate with all of you is Discord. And so if you are not already in the Discord, I would encourage you, if you like the stream, if you like what I'm doing, if you want to be a part of this, to join the Discord. I just linked it there in the Twitch. It's also always going to be linked here in my Twitch panel, so you could always come here later or show your friends. I want to shout this out too. Within the Discord, there is a separate unlock for housing and nightlife, as well as a whole channel dedicated to just opting into notifications if you want any of those. So in case anyone's not aware, take a look at the top of the Discord, and basically all of the information that you would need in terms of like keeping up with the stream and stuff, it's all there. There's an events section. There's notifications if you want to opt into notifications when I go live or when I post about upcoming events. there's the ability to unlock the full housing section and the nightlife sections to get like full access to all that content, post screenshots, share your builds, these kinds of things. This is where I run the tours from. And then there's also like even information about the server. There's like a channel guide and everything like that. It's all up near the top of the Discord. I tried to make it as simple and easy to parse through as I can. I'm still working on making it even better. But I know not everyone is always aware that it's all there. So I wanted to just vocalize that to everybody and for you to let your friends know too. And I say that because I see some people join the Discord and they never, unlock a lot of that stuff. And then I hear later that they didn't even know it existed. So just want to put that out there. So yeah, that'll be the best way to keep in contact. I know a lot of you are already in there, and I very much appreciate all you guys being in there and showing your friends. Feel free to invite your friends to join the Discord and come be a part of all of this. I'm gonna make a big push on a bunch of this stuff. For this year, trying to really get a lot of all of this going in a big way by the end of this year. And I hope you'll be there with me. I hope I've been so appreciative and so thankful for all your guys' support so far. Again, the last Friday stream was all completely dedicated to that, and I definitely want to do more stuff specifically for subscribers, specifically for people in the Discord. I've been thinking a lot about this lately. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I think I felt like I was maybe losing focus or something a little bit for a bit. But I really realize how much it's important to me that I don't dilly-dally on making some of this stuff a reality. And I really want to see what this can be. But I'm gonna need some of your guys, and I'm gonna need your help, to make it what it can be. And I hope you'll, I hope the idea of bringing a lot of this to life and taking all this stuff to the next level is exciting, and I hope you'll be there. And thank you in advance, for those of you who do. Yeah, cool. For now though, let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. I hope I can do this. I hope we can make this happen. I really love to be able to prove to myself by the end of the year that this can be a sustainable thing that I could really make like a career even, and to make it like something where I can really go all in on this and grow this for years even into something bigger and bigger and all that. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I vocalized it quite like that before, but I'm realizing I think I want to put it out there to all of you, kind of what I'm going for with all this and kind of where I want to take this. And a big thing is going to be trying to prove that this is something that I want, as well as that I think that other people out there, that you all want, by this, especially by the end of the year here. So more of that will kind of unravel as we talk about this more and as we build out more of this. But yeah, thank you for everybody today for listening to me story time earlier in the stream, and now here at the end of the stream, passion-splain a little bit of all this stuff. But it really does mean a lot to me to have your guys's encouragement and support. And I hope that this doesn't come off as too rambly or like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I hope I was able to explain some of that clearly, and it helps you understand just like where I'm coming from, like the way that I'm seeing all of this. So yeah, Anyway, thank you everybody for coming out to the stream today. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll finish this up hopefully on Thursday, and yeah, thank you all again for everything you all do, for all your support. See you in the Discord. See you on Wednesday at Prominence. And for now, good evening and good night, everybody. Talk to you soon. For any of you who are still here, I see actually that we are about to go into a maintenance, I think, but I see Rothcast is streaming right now. Actually, I know he is currently streaming a whole bunch, raising money for trying to get over to TwitchCon, and also I believe even after the servers go down, he is going to take anybody in his stream over to Sim Ichi. So in case anybody doesn't know, I built Ichi Nightclub for him in 14 here, but then Roth actually has gone and rebuilt Ichi in The Sims 4, specifically for nights like tonight, where the servers go down for maintenance. So I'm gonna raid you on over to him. He's doing a DJ set right now, so it's gonna be a bit of a different vibe from this stream. So just fair warning, if in case you wanted to just like peacefully like go to sleep or something right now, then like maybe want to pop off. But if you want, I'm gonna raid us on over to Roth, whoever's still here, and he'll take it away. Party for the last little bit here in 14, and then probably take you over to Sim Ichi, and you can take a look and see what he's doing with that. It's pretty cool. So here we go. We're going on over to Rothcast. Thank you again everyone for coming for the stream. I'll see you guys soon.